instead of cooking with butter tonight, I think I'll saute our veggies with heart-healthy oil.
You're a genius!
So really, would your food choices pay off in heart health? Did you know that when you replace bad fats with healthier fats, like those in canola or other vegetable oils, it can lower bad cholesterol levels, and that's good for your heart. Here's a winning idea. Take up the challenge for good health, because the you of the future will say,
Fantastic!
Learn more at heart.org/facethefats. Canola Info proudly supports the American Heart Association's Face the Fats campaign.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then?
And then nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite.
Look out! Look out!
And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5 is all sports all the time. Talk football year-round with local sports legend Coach K. From quarterbacking the Pensacola High Tigers to coaching the Buffalo Bills, Coach K's life has been all about the game, the teams, the players, and the coaches. Talk football with Coach K at noon on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Summer's here, and it's time for a Luau Bash Bike Night at Harley-Davidson of Pensacola. Thursday night, come out for music from Nana Fly, free drinks from Harley's Angels, food from Dragon Express Catering, and prizes for the best Hawaiian-style shirts. Saturday, noon till 3, come out for the Bikini Bike Wash. Let the Harley's Angels do the dirty work while you enjoy complimentary drinks, burgers, and dogs hot off the grill. For all event details, check out Harley-Davidson of Pensacola on Facebook.
The weather is heating up, and it's time to make sure your battery is ready. At AutoZone, we have the free services you need to do it right. Car not starting? The solution starts at America's #1 battery destination. We'll test your battery for free and help you figure out the real issue, so you don't buy what you don't need. Getting the job done just got easier. Let us help you at more than 5,600 locations nationwide. Restrictions and details in store. The MPD Group Incorporated Car Care Track, 12 months ending December 2018.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
This is Pensacola's hometown all-sports station and home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Catch all the Wahoos games home and away all season, plus all the latest Wahoos news from Chad Brilliante on the Sports Drive, 5 till game time weeknights. And hey, if your business would like to partner with us as an advertiser or with a local sports promotion, then give us a call at 850-262-6000 or shoot us an email from the advertise page on ESPNpensacola.com.
All sports, all the time. ESPN Pensacola 94.5 WYCT Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass, joined alongside me as always, Coach K, and we are having a lot of fun on today's show. We're going to be getting ready to have a lot of fun on today's show. Lots to talk about as we are coming off of a weekend here inside the NFL and college football, where definitely some big-time stories came out, whether it's the SEC allowing alcohol sales at football games. Rob Gronkowski was back at Gillette Stadium, and that's actually where we're going to start today's show off with, Coach, because Rob Gronkowski was back at Gillette Stadium for a fundraiser. It's called Mission Buzz Off for Kids. Now, this is a charity event for children who suffer from cancer, and obviously this is one of his first biggest appearances since the announcement of his retirement. And, of course, that conversation was brought up that there were some rumblings and some rumors of maybe he might be considering trying to come back and play for the New England Patriots one day down the road. And basically Gronkowski shut that down quick. He said, he loves the New England community. He loves playing for the Patriots, but, he's at a good place. He's happy where he's at. And it was just, basically it was kind of a typical PR answer. Feeling great, in a good place right now. I'm happy to be back at Gillette Stadium for this great cause, but as far as my retirement goes, I'm done. So it looks like, as for now, Rob Gronkowski sticking to his guns of being done. However, that may change, may not change, but as of right now, Gronkowski says he's feeling good and he's happy with his retirement.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at that at all. The big thing is, if you've played that long and you've been that successful and it's meant so much to you, there is a certain feeling that you get that you just want to get out there again. And I know that happens. Now, this is going to also depend on, for goodness sakes, Bill Belichick. He may get to the point, and I say he, I'm talking about Gronkowski, near the end of the season or after midseason, where word is coming out of there that they need him badly and he really wants to play and so on. But whether Belichick would look at that as a good move for his football team or not, that would be the key. And I think just might as well put this on the back burner. I think it's very unlikely that Gronkowski, and by that time he may be involved in so much partying that it would be very difficult for him to do it.
You're absolutely right on that point, Coach. Let's move now to another team in that part of the country. It's the New York Giants. A lot of people were kind of skeptical of the decision to take Daniel Jones with that number 6 overall pick. But, Coach, they've started their OTAs. They've been involved in workouts and things like that, and he's starting to kind of turn the tables on what people are believing with him, especially inside that locker room. Saquon Barkley, as a matter of fact, was speaking to the media and actually said that, Daniel Jones went off a couple of days ago in practice. He said he had himself a day, and that they're starting to believe in him as a quarterback there with the New York Giants football team. And he said, right now people are being picky and, they're picking apart the pick and the decision. But he says, give Daniel Jones a few years, and when he wins a couple of Super Bowls, people will be calling it the greatest pickup of all time.
Well, I'm not surprised at that at all. I like the move to get Daniel Jones, and I think he's going to be a good one. Coincidentally, I did talk to a talent scout who has been watching 2 or 3 of the teams, and I talked to another guy. So I've got a little inside information on some of these OTAs that might be of interest to you. One of them is the Giants. And going down their list, at first he said Daniel Jones looks like a number 1 pick at quarterback.
Wow.
That he is really, really ripping it up. There's no question. If you're looking at practice, he looks like the guy. And he's handling everything well, so which would be expected. The defensive tackle from Duke, Lawrence, is fitting in well. It looks for him to be a starter. This is interesting. DeAndre Baker, who everybody had as one of the top corners, if not the top corner in the league, in the draft, from Georgia, has already moved into a number 1 corner spot for most of the reps.
Yeah.
Okay. The defensive end from Old Dominion, and I can't pronounce his last name, but he looks to be a guy that they're going to have for pass rush situations. Has great natural ability, is extremely raw. He said he has a great future in front of him. Good kid, listens to everything, works his tail off. Now they're the first 3 picks plus the first 4 picks, really, including their number 3 pick, a kid from Old Dominion. Julian Love, the cornerback at Notre Dame, is alternating him with the occasional reps with the first team as the slot corner. He's a draft pick. He's fourth round. Let's see, Julian Love, 4th round draft pick. Their 5th round draft pick, Connerly, linebacker from Wisconsin, looks good. He's a guy that's going to add quality depth, and he's very bright and may end up being a starter. He certainly will end up being a starter, if not this year. He will be a starter for him. But he's going to play a lot for him. There, my goodness, you're talking about an impact of quite a bit. Also, he said the tackle, he's just so raw. But the tackle from Kentucky, Ajay, is a big, good-looking kid. He's just too raw right now. But anyway, this looks like quite a haul for the New York Giants. It really does.
And that's exactly what they needed at this point, trying to get things turned around and get things back on track for them there in MetLife Stadium. And it looks like with the players that they've added, and from what Saquon Barkley is saying about Daniel Jones, within the next few years, this New York Giants team could appear to be really good. And, Coach, they may not have to worry about playing 4 preseason games in the upcoming few years, because Roger Goodell has come out and he said 4 preseason games may not be necessary. Actually, he said they aren't necessary, to be exact. And, Coach, he's looking to shorten the preseason schedule. Some of the talk that he said about this, he was at a charity golf tournament celebrating Jim Kelly's 33rd charity golf tournament that's just outside of Buffalo. Coach, he was talking about this, and he said that, the NFL should do everything to the highest quality, and right now he doesn't see that the preseason is delivering on that level. So there are talks beginning that maybe the preseason could be shortened.
Yeah, the interesting thing here, Jordan, is how are they going to handle those 2 games?
Right.
Now, if they're going to tell the owners, you're going to drop 2 games from your revenue, that's not going to sit well, okay? Are they going to add the 2 games, have 2 preseason, and now 18 regular season games? That's not going to fly with the players. So I don't know where he's going to go with the other 2 games if you're going to eliminate 2 games, there are 2 preseason games. The other thing that you got to be considerate of is this hurts young kids. This hurts the younger players, because this is where you find out about them. This is where you play them. You have a chance to play them. If you're 2 preseason games, you got to get guys ready to play regular season, and you don't have time in regular season to be in a tryout method. With putting kids out there you don't know anything about,
right,
that haven't proven themselves. How many free agents do you think are going to make a football team now if they take those 2 games away? And those extra 2 games mean the world to the young players, the free agents, the lower draft picks. Just make the world of difference. And I will tell you, I think they're getting more injuries right now in the National Football League, injuries we didn't see in the multiples you see now, because they've limited the contact that you can have in camp. They've limited so many other things that are football related that they just don't get enough football related activity before going into a regular season where you got to really lay it all on the line. So I don't know. I think an awful lot of thought needs to go into how to handle those other two preseason games.
All right, Coach. I think that's just something we're going to have to keep an eye on and see how this plays out here for the NFL and what they decide to do as they continue to move forward with this. But again, Roger Goodell saying that 4 preseason games not necessary inside the NFL. Coach, I want to move now to college football because this is just yet another example of why the transfer portal is bad for college football, and it's something that should be taken away or at least reworked. Brew McCoy He's a top 2019 recruit. He's a receiver, and he originally signed an LOI, or a letter of intent, to go to USC. He enrolled in USC as an early graduate or an early enrollee, spent a couple of weeks on campus, then decided, I'm going to enter the transfer portal, decides to go play at Texas, has been at Texas ever since, and coach has now decided that he's going to inform Texas that he is once again going to transfer, and it's also being called a move that is him returning home, leading a lot of people to expect him to go back to USC. So, Coach, now we've seen a guy enter the transfer portal not once, but twice, to leave USC to go to Texas, and now to leave Texas, presumptuously, to be going back to USC.
Terrible situation. We talked about this at length before. What could happen with this transfer thing? They are doing their best right now to ruin college football. When I say ruin college football, I'm talking about certainly taking it out of the realm of an amateur sport. If they're not careful the way they keep going, they could do that very easily. And if they do, then there's no reason to tie this to a school. Just have professional teams, okay, at a lower level. This would be like minor league baseball. I think it would be a shame, and certainly I would hope and believe that schools would feel like this is because it means so much money. You know, football is so responsible for the dollars coming into a school,
right? Not
just in the athletic field, but to academics as well. In fact, we talked to a president of a school, two of them, who said that without football, the academic course load would be reduced by a huge percentage. I don't want to quote what that was now because I don't remember exactly. But it's staggering how much money went to engineering, went to medical schools, went to general education. So just absolutely amazing. And that's why presidents usually want, like Duffy Daugherty, when he was at Michigan State, the great line about the great story about him getting a veterinarian school put into Michigan State. He got it put in because he missed a player, a great All-American player, Tucker Frederickson from Fort Lauderdale, who went to Auburn because Auburn had a vet school and Michigan State did not. His family was Michigan State, and they thought they had him at Michigan State, and the last minute he changed because of the vet school. Well, within 2 years, Michigan State had a vet school. And that's just one. Judy Benz right here in Pensacola is a great example. How she fought for a football team at West Florida because it's so important for the overall life and education at a university, not to mention the funding. So to get back to the main topic here, this transfer rule is hurting college football. And I don't know what they're going to do. Now you've let the cat out of the bag. I don't know whether you're going to be able to get him back in there or not, but they need to do something. They got to put some parameters around this some way, or it's going to crucify college football.
All right, Coach, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll have more Talk Football with Coach K coming up next right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
At Indeed, we believe a resume is a great way to see an overview of a candidate, but you're not hiring a resume, you're hiring a person. That's why Indeed offers tools that help bridge the gap between a candidate and the resume, like skill tests, which let you actually see a candidate's abilities in action to make sure they're a good fit for the job. See beyond the resume with Indeed. Experience Indeed for yourself today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting at Indeed.com/promo. Terms and conditions apply.
Who would have thought? Who would have guessed? An energy company helping cars emit less. Making cars lighter is a good place to start. Advanced oils for those hard-working parts. Fuels that go further so drivers pump less. At ExxonMobil, it's what we do best. Efficiency is our driving ambition. It's full speed ahead to produce fewer emissions. Explore more about unexpected energy sources at energyfactor.com. Energy lives here.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every dollar spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass, joined alongside me as always, Coach K. And again, if you do want to be a part of today's show, you can always call or text into our studio line, 972-1945. Again, that number, 972-1945. You can also follow us on Facebook at Talk Football with Coach K or ESPN Pensacola. And then, of course, you can also follow us on Instagram as well at Talk Football with Coach K, and on Twitter at Talk Football WCK. And you can be a part of all of our social media, keep up to date with all of that. And look, if you've got a question, if you see something on SportsCenter that has to do with football and you want to send Coach a message and ask him a question for us to address on the show, social media is a great place to do that. So, again, just be aware that you can do that on both Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Again, Facebook and Instagram is Talk Football with Coach K, and Twitter is Talk Football WCK. All right, Coach, let's get back into it here because you have some information here that it's rather good information. You've been talking to people inside of camps here. We've been going through OTAs, and now for the past couple of weeks for the NFL, you've been actually talking to people inside these camps, and you've been getting some information on some of these other teams. And, Coach, we talked about it a little bit from the New York Giants, but, Coach, you've got some more information on other teams inside the NFL as well.
Yeah, these are contacts of mine, scouts, that I get other information from, and they happen to have been present at the OTAs and have a good feel for what teams are doing, what they look like early. Now, keep in mind, we should preface by saying this is awfully early, and it's just a quick glance at the personnel. But also keep in mind that this is a pretty good indicator of how a football team feels about these players and how much they're going to contribute. Philadelphia Eagles. We talked about the Giants, but the Philadelphia Eagles, they think they got the best tackle, pass protector in Dillard, big offensive lineman from Washington State. He's an immediate step-in starter. And he play either side. They say they play left tackle or right tackle, which is huge, because not many young guys do you even suggest that they can do that. You want to plant them usually on the right side, and hopefully you got an older guy on the left side. But anyway, he has stirred up some some real good feelings there. Miles Sanders, the running back from Penn State, they love him. I think he's a first-class running back and would have been much higher had he had the other year. You know, he played behind last year at Penn State and #1 draft pick, and so. But anyway, they like him. Whiteside, the receiver from Stanford, could very well be a starter. If he's not a starter, he'll be their slot guy. Rookie, but really sharp, as you might imagine. Runs routes exceedingly well. Has a good feel for keeping somebody on the backside and positioning. Feet inbounds. He knows how to do all that. Good eye-hand coordination. Just a good receiver, and faster than most people think. Sharif Miller, defensive end from Penn State. They like him. He's not in the starting lineup right now. He's not alternating with the first team, but he is a guy that they like. So Philadelphia, that looks pretty good for the Eagles. I'll tell you what, that offensive line pickup and that running back, and with the wide receiver help now, my gosh, just that would be huge with Wentz coming back healthy as a quarterback.
No, you are absolutely right, Coach. I think any kind of help that they can get with Wentz, coming back as the quarterback, because look, Nick Foles not going to be there. He's going to be down in Jacksonville playing for the Jaguars. But so it's going to be Carson Wentz's team, and it's going to be his team to lead, and they're going to need any and every help that they can get for him there in Philadelphia. And Coach, you got a couple of other teams there as well.
Well, the only other one that I've got the inside information on, oddly enough, going out west, talked to this is a guy who's been around quite a while. Excuse me, and he was in Denver with the Broncos, going through some introductory type things, and Elway's catching bad news. He's been called everything in the book, I think, out there by the press, and been denigrated, which I don't think is fair. But at any rate, they like, as they should, they like Noah Fant, the tight end from Iowa. He can run. He catches the ball. As was advertised, he's a little weak on the blocking. But they're going to do so many things with him. He's going to be like like the tight ends that really aren't tight ends. You split them out. You can put them in the backfield. You can do a number of things with him. Reisner, the offensive lineman from Kansas State, immediate starter, which is good for them. And they say he is everything he was cracked up to be. They like him, and he is an immediate starter. Font will be a so-called starter, because with what he does, he'll be in the ball game an awful lot, even if it's a two tight end offense. Drew Lock, the quarterback they got from Missouri, they're not expecting him to play right away, but he looks good. He's looking good out there. He's got the respect of most of the vets, and throws the ball extremely well. They like him. Demont Jones, defensive tackle from Ohio State, is most likely going to be if not a starter, he'll be that first line that replaces the starters, the first group to go in and alternate. He'll be almost a starter there. They like him very much, and he may end up being a starter. He's a hard worker, and they like him. Did not have any contact or anything else on Hollins, the linebacker from Oregon, or Winfrey. I thought might get a little something on Winfrey. I thought they might like him, the receiver from Colorado, but no word there. So the Broncos, if they get that, look, he's talking about 1, 2 immediate starter, a tight end, and an offensive lineman. He's talking about a defensive tackle who's going to add depth, and he's talking about a quarterback who eventually will be their quarterback and who will offer them quality backup. Yeah, keep in mind, people forget this. The backup quarterback is the 12th guy on the squad.
Yeah.
And Philadelphia has proven that over and over. If you don't have that guy, so if something happened, which very well could, our guy from Baltimore is getting on up there in age, and anything could happen. And if he goes down, then you're going to need somebody to step in. And Flacco is not the most agile guy in the world, so he could get banged up a little bit back there.
All right, Coach. I'm going to continue to take a look at some evaluation things of different teams, and this is from the NFL Network. And they on their website NFL.com. They've obviously listed out the top 5 receiving groups inside the NFL. Coach, I kind of want to get your opinion on these real quick. We'll start with number 1. You look at the Cleveland Browns. They have Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, Antonio Callaway, Rashard Higgins, and David Njoku. Coach, this is it's a good receiving core. It's a talented receiving core, especially when you look at Odell and Jarvis back together. You know, you look at what they were able to do at LSU, put up great numbers there. You got to think that they're going to be able to bring a little bit of that magic to the Cleveland Browns. You throw in Antonio Callaway, Coach. Those are all 3 guys that can take you deep, or they can run around underneath and break that for a big play with their speed. So, Coach, the Cleveland Browns are listed here as the top receiving core inside the NFL. Do you agree with that, or do you think maybe it's a different team?
I tell you, on paper, that looks to be true. But there's a heck of a big difference in being the right combination on paper and on the playing field. You have to like the talent. You have to like the talent there. But do I like the flags that go along with it? No. I like the talent. And if all is great and honky-dory the whole year and the Divas get their fair share of throws and whatever, then they'll make plays and all will be fine. But if things don't go just their way, Leopard doesn't change his spots. They're gonna be somebody's gonna be a problem, and I know one in particular. So that's all I'm saying is beware the Leopard in the locker room there.
All right, Coach, and that Leopard may have some blonde streaks in his hair just to kind of give him away there. But, Coach, our next team here, the Atlanta Falcons, taking a look at their starting 5. They're going to have Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, Calvin Ridley, Justin Hardy, and Austin Hooper. Coach, you take a look at this, Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones. That's 2 Alabama receivers there that you put them on either side of the field. Good luck to whatever secondary that has to cover that.
See, I'm not so sure that's not the best group on paper, and it's certainly a better group in the locker room right now than that group at Cleveland. But anything could change. Now, I'm not saying the crew at Cleveland could end up just running wild all year and Atlanta not have such a good year. But I like that Atlanta grouping. I think that's and Jones to me is maybe the most dominating receiver in the league.
All right, Coach, our 3rd best receiving core in the NFL. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. Coach, it's Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson. He's now back with the Eagles after spending some time with the Buccaneers. You've also got Nelson Aguilar, Zach Ertz, and Dallas Goedert. Coach, this is you look at them on paper, they may not be as formidable as Atlanta or Cleveland, but still, you look at this, Nelson Aguilar, Zach Ertz, Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson. You've got some guys that are going to be able to make plays for you.
Yeah, you do. They're not the big play type team as Atlanta, I don't think. Great group of receivers now. There's no doubt about that. But I like Atlanta's better. This grouping right now of the 3 that we've gone over, if somebody told me you can pick one of those 3 groups, I'd take Atlanta.
All right, Coach, I think I would agree with you, and most of our listeners would agree with you as well. All right, Coach, how about the number 4 receiving core? It's the L.A. Rams. They're going to have Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, if he can stay healthy. Had some injuries last year. Also, they're going to have Tyler Higbee and Gerald Everett on their receiving core as well.
That's a good young group. Young may be the operative word here. Whether they can hold it together this year and have similar results. as last year. I don't know, but that's a good young group. I don't think they're in the category. They're really not in the category with the other three. And they're in the same stratosphere, but they're not quite as potent as the other three.
All right, Coach, we'll stay in L.A. for our final group. It's the L.A. Chargers. They'll have Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Travis Benjamin, Hunter Henry, and Virgil Green as their receiving corps.
Yeah, and that's an outstanding crew, and they've got a guy who can get them the football in Rivers. So I like them, but let's take the Atlanta group and let's go kick it off and play.
All right, Coach. Well, that is going to do it for that time. That segment. We'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, more Talk Football with Coach K coming up next right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Our Pensacola Wahoos are back for another season, and with the new season comes some fresh and new changes. Our Wahoos are now the new AA affiliate of the Minnesota Twins, and they have a new broadcast home here in Pensacola, right here at your hometown station for hometown sports, ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Catch all the Wahoos action from home and away with Chris Garagiola. Wahoos baseball presented by Denny's on the new official flagship station for the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 94.5 and ESPNpensacola.com.
Hot dogs! Get your hot dogs here!
Mike, why is there a guy selling hot dogs in here?
Well, getting tickets to the game I want to see is a hassle. But I miss that stadium atmosphere, so I brought the stadium atmosphere to work.
Oh, Michael. Vivid Seats make buying tickets quick and easy. Find the seat you want in just a few clicks.
Nice. I just got tickets to tonight's game.
Ice cream! Get your ice cream here!
You guys can all go home now. We're good here.
Vivid Seats! Vivid Seats!
This is Stacy on her motorcycle.
What an incredible view!
And this is Stacy off her motorcycle.
Does this have sucralose in it?
On her motorcycle.
Oh, the wind in my hair!
Off her motorcycle.
It's pronounced et cetera, not et cetera.
On.
Woohoo! Yes!
Off.
No.
You're better on your bike. And with basic policy starting at $75 a year, quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Annual premium for basic liability policy not available in all states.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K, where we are live on your HD radio as well at HD2 98.7 WICT and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Again, welcome back in. I'm Jordan Glass. Joined alongside me as always, Coach K. And Coach, I want to switch gears now from the NFL to college football because there's a very, very interesting story out for college football teams inside the top 25 on ESPN's college football page. Coach, It is the top 25 teams, and it's picking one game off their schedule that they definitely should be aware of and worry about a little bit as possibly being a trap game that they could slip up in. Coach, we'll start off with the number one team. Obviously, that's the Clemson Tigers. And you take a look at their game. September 14th, they'll be on the road taking on Syracuse. Coach, this is a Syracuse team that came into Clemson last year, played them tough, and kept it close for most of the game, even though Trevor Lawrence did go out with an injury, and that probably played a part in it. But, Coach, this is a very tough Syracuse team, and they're even tougher to play at the Carrier Dome. They're in Syracuse.
You know, we talked about this game when we went over the Clemson schedule and said, yeah, this is a trap game. And it's a tough one. You know what I'm not sure of, and I'd like to double check. It certainly says at Syracuse, but I really thought Clemson was at Syracuse last year.
They were actually in Clemson.
Were they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That was Trevor Lawrence's first start as the quarterback for the Tigers, and it was there. And remember, he took that hit on the sideline.
Yeah, I remember that. But I was just mistaken. I thought they were at the Carrier Dome. But at the Carrier Dome is going to be that much tougher for them. There's no doubt about that.
And let's not forget, last time they were at the Carrier Dome, Syracuse actually knocked off Clemson in that game. All right, Coach, our next game on the list, number 2, Alabama. Another game we talked about when looking at schedules and looking at upcoming games. On the road, week 2, I believe, September 14th. This is, week 3 of the season. So it's still early in the season, and we all know how Alabama tends to start the first couple of weeks of the season. They tend to start off a little slow, and then they pick things up. But, Coach, they're going to have a date looming on Texas A&M in Week 5 a couple of weeks after this. Alabama heading to Columbia, South Carolina to take on the Gamecocks. Will Muschamp, very familiar with Nick Saban and what he likes to do.
Well, you're right there, and you can bet at home. If you don't think South Carolina has this penciled in as the Super Bowl game for them, I mean, this is bigger than Clemson or anything. If they could knock Alabama off, so they're going to give it everything they can, which you might imagine. Usually the case for anybody playing Alabama. That's one thing they have to overcome every week. But it's going to be a very, very big football game, even bigger than I thought at first. I could see the more I think about this ball game with South Carolina being at home and having a vet quarterback who's played gives them more of an advantage than originally thought.
And, Coach, just like Clemson with the last time they were in Syracuse, because the last time Alabama was in Columbia, they actually lost 35-21 to Steve Spurrier and the Gamecocks. At that point in time, Alabama was ranked number 1 with Greg McElroy at the quarterback position. All right, Coach, move on now to the third team in the country. We've got the Georgia Bulldogs here, and we're not going to do all 25 teams. We're only kind of doing the teams that are pertinent for this area, and it just so happens that the top 3 all fall into that category. So, Coach, we'll continue here. Number 3, Georgia. Their game to be aware of, according to this article on ESPN, not the Florida game in Jacksonville, but actually a couple of weeks before that when they head to Knoxville to take on the Tennessee Volunteers.
Well, you could almost see that coming as well. With the Florida game ahead, yet to go, and Tennessee better. Tennessee at home. This will be a huge game for Tennessee. You can bet on that. So, yeah, I could see where this would be a game they better be very, very cautious of. No doubt about it.
All right, Coach, our next team on the list, take a look at Florida, sitting here at number 8 in the top 10, September 14th. All these games seeming to fall right around the first 3 to 4 weeks of the season. And, Coach, Florida on the road in Lexington, that's the game that ESPN says they should be aware of. Kentucky got them last year in the Swamp, ended that 30-plus year losing streak they had to the Gators. Can Florida go into Lexington and win that game? I think we've already established that going over Florida and Kentucky's schedule. But, Coach, this is definitely a game that the Gators should be aware of because Kentucky, not the pushover team they were in the past.
No doubt about it. And that, let's see, how early is that? What game is that?
That is going to be Week 3, September 14th.
Week 3, okay. And you're also talking about Tennessee in that early season there, Tennessee and Kentucky. So Florida better be extremely careful going in there. But let me tell you, I think they should, losing that game to Kentucky last year, should give them impetus going up there this year because they know that Kentucky can beat them. There's no doubt about it. And Kentucky getting Florida at home is a big, big plus.
And by the way, the 3 of the first 4 weeks for Florida, they'll be in Orlando taking on the Miami Hurricanes. Then they'll have this game on September 14th in Lexington before heading home the following weekend on the 21st to take on the Tennessee Volunteers. So 3 tough weeks to start off the season there for the first first 4 weeks of the season for the Florida Gators.
Yeah, you bet it is. And fortunately, they have that open date in there, which would not have been the case had they not opened that early.
All right, Coach, our next team, number 9, LSU, right there behind the Florida Gators. September 7th, no surprise here, on the road in Austin at Texas Memorial Stadium, taking on the Texas Longhorns.
Should be a battle royal, and it should tell everything, For Texas, it's huge. They made a big comeback last year. They're an improved football team, and I'm sure their coach is looking at this as being the game that will catapult them into another sort of stratosphere. I think it's going to be a heck of a football game, and I can certainly see where this would be for both teams, and certainly for LSU at Texas. This could be a huge, huge, huge game. Now think about this, Jordan. You got to go to Texas to play Texas. You still got to play Alabama, Texas A&M, Florida. I think they got Georgia too. What a schedule these guys got to think about. So this is going to make this rougher than ever.
All right, Coach, this is a West Coast team, but I'm only bringing it up because they do play an SEC team early on in the season. And, Coach, as a matter of fact, they're actually getting the season started against an SEC team. That is not the game to keep an eye out for this team. Obviously, I'm talking about the Oregon Ducks at number 10, who start off the year taking on Auburn in Dallas. But, Coach, the game that they should be aware of, October 11th against Colorado.
Well, there are reasons, I guess, they put this game on there. But I really just on paper right now, I don't see this being a huge, huge problem for Oregon. I think they'll take that ball game, and just gives you some idea as to the conference that they play in. It's just not very competitive right now.
All right, Coach, let's drop down to number 12 here. We've got Texas A&M. They'll be taking on Clemson September 7th. That's their game that they should have circled to be aware of.
Yeah, Texas A&M at Clemson. My goodness, that's early in the season. You don't want to get demoralized there for sure, but that could happen. That's what they got to be very, very cognizant of, is go in there and not only lose a ball game, but just get a hat dance put on you, and maybe even lose some players in the at the same time. So a big game for Texas A&M.
All right, Coach, and for Central Florida here, sitting at 14, they've got a heck of a ball game coming up September 14th, and this is a game that Coach Heupel and the Central Florida Knights need to win if they want to be more into the conversation of a playoff spot and things like that. They've got to beat this caliber of team. Coach Stanford coming into the Jump House there in Orlando as they are getting ready for that game coming up again September 14th.
Yeah, I don't know how they scheduled this game. My Stanford scheduled this game. But it may have been certainly back when they didn't see UCF being a big football school. But this is a dangerous game for Stanford, and for UCF it's huge, because if they can knock Stanford off, it's going to add to their argument that they should be playing major college schedule and involved in bowls and playoffs and everything else. But it's a huge game, and I can't see, to be honest with you, I can't see Stanford losing that game, but it could happen.
All right, Coach, let's drop to 18 where we find the Auburn Tigers. And, Coach, maybe they didn't put it for Oregon as their game to be aware of, because they actually have it for Auburn, starting off August 31st, Week 1 in Dallas, taking on the Oregon Ducks.
Yeah, this to me is where the rubber meets the road right here for Auburn. I think they're in trouble, to be honest with you. Going to Dallas to open up the season with a new quarterback, some other first-time players. They do have a lot of returning now, so they're not void of returning starters. But they're playing a team in Oregon that all we've heard, Jordan, is that their quarterback is the real deal. And if he is, it's going to be a tough, long day for Auburn, especially early in the season, because you don't have time to work against all those crazy sets, and a quarterback that can throw the football all over the field makes it that much more difficult defensively. So I see this as being a very, very difficult opener for Auburn.
All right, Coach, and just it's not a local team, but a very interesting scenario here at 19 Washington State, the game for them to be aware of, Northern Colorado. Now, the reasoning behind this that the author of this article on ESPN's college football page writes is because, look, Washington State's lost to multiple FCS teams in the past couple of seasons, and, they usually tend to play down to those type of teams, and those type of teams usually go into a game against Washington State and come out with a victory. So, Coach, interesting to see an FCS team on this list, but you got to think with the way things have gone in the past couple of years for Washington State, pretty sound reason why Northern Colorado would be their game to be aware of.
Well, I'm going to let them have at it with Northern Colorado. Washington State Leach is a very, very interesting guy. Would be an interesting guy to have a conversation with.
All right, Coach, how about our final one here for this list? Number 25, the Mississippi State Bulldogs on September 28th, another early game season. They'll be heading into the Plains to take on the Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, and Auburn at this point, by September 26th, 28th, whatever, this is going to be, I know this is Mississippi State they're talking about here, a key game, but it is going to be a very key game for Auburn as well, because they could be in a situation where they could have the moving vans backed up, ready to load up Malzahn's house. So this is going to be a huge football game. Mississippi State, I'm projecting that Mississippi State is going to be about where you would anticipate a Mississippi State team being this year. Last year they had a chance to be much better, and they didn't live up to it. We'll see what happens this year, but I don't see them being any better than they have been in the past. But they're still good enough, and they're always tough enough defensively that they can beat any team on any Saturday, and certainly this will be a huge test for them here.
All right, Coach. Well, that is going to do it for that list. But I do want to go back to Auburn here for a second while we're on this topic, Coach. We talked about them right there at the number 18 spot. Their game to be aware of is the Oregon game. Coach, if Oregon just completely dominates them, let's say the final score of this game is 41-17, something along those lines. It's not even close. Auburn just gets embarrassed in Dallas to start off the season. Coach, do you think that's a situation to where that is safe to say the final nail in the coffin for Gus Malzahn, to where, an embarrassing loss week one to Oregon Ducks is going to be enough to do it for him?
Well, let's put it this way. I wouldn't rule it out. I think he would it's certainly going to cast a very, very big shadow on the rest of the season. I mean, they're going to have to almost go undefeated the rest of the year to overcome that if that happens. So it's not going to be in any way positive for him, and could be the end of the road there. You're right. But let's give him credit for maybe having to play some other football games.
All right, Coach. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take our final timeout of the show. When we come back, we're going to take a look at some more headlines and wrap things up right here on Talk Football with Coach K, coming up next right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text. Stop the wrecks.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range, Highway 29 in Car City.
They always told Will he was too short to play basketball, but Will never listened. Will let his work ethic do the talking for him. Always in the gym, always running drills. Will knew where there was a will, there was a way, and he was Will. But then, after his second child was born, he realized the pros were all way better than him. So Will gave up and buried his high tops in a tearful ceremony. But one day, he heard that Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved a bunch, which was awesome.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every dollar spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
Into Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WICT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. I am Jordan Glass, joined alongside me as always, Coach K, and we are having a lot of fun here in the studio talking some football. And Coach, going over some headlines, Rob Gronkowski, when asked about his retirement plans at a fundraiser at Gillette Stadium over the weekend, says, look, it's, everybody's going to be kind of questioning him. Nothing that he says is going to be taken seriously. He's always going to kind of be, he can say he's retired, but everybody's still going to look at this and go, yeah, but you might come back, right? So he's kind of put that to rest. He said, look, I'm happy. I'm in a good place right now. There's no plans on the table for me to come back to the NFL. And Coach, Rob seems to be happy with his decision to kind of just ride off into the sunset, or, party off into the sunset as he seems to be doing this offseason.
I think the latter's more appropriate, but there's more than one person would be involved in that, and maybe the most significant person, not maybe, but absolutely, the most significant person who would be involved in that would be Belichick. He's not going to have a situation where people retire and just come and go as they please. Plus, he has a certain standard for availability and so on that would I don't know would suit his standards. So I would say Belichick would have the biggest say-so in whether he came back or not.
All right, Coach, some other headlines from around the league. Looks like Daniel Jones is winning over his teammates there at OTAs for the New York Giants. And Saquon Barkley, as a matter of fact, came out and said, look, people are dogging this pick right now, but wait until he wins 2 Super Bowls. And, people will be calling this the greatest pickup in NFL history. And, Coach, it looks like he's having a lot of fun out there in New York with the Giants so far in OTAs. And he's turning a lot of heads in doing so, too.
Yeah. In fact, I said, what we heard from someone who's watched him in the OTAs, and not only is he having an outstanding work out there and doing a great job and impressing everybody, but there are other players that they picked up are certainly contributing, and I think the Giants are going to end up having a heck of a draft and a good football team this year, a better football team than some people think. So, and I thought that last year, but it didn't happen. But I really feel like they've helped themselves.
All right, Coach, take a look at Blake Bortles, no longer with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He actually headed from one coast to the other to join the L.A. Rams. He's expected to be Jared Goff's backup out there for the Rams. And, Coach, looks like Blake Bortles is soaking up as many lessons as he can from McVay. And this is good news from a guy that we've talked about it before on the show, was known more at the bars on the beach than he was for being in the team facility doing some extra work. So maybe it looks like Blake Bortles is starting to take a new approach to his career inside the NFL, maybe taking a little bit more of a professional approach and spending more time preparing and learning how to prepare the right way under Sean McVay.
Well, I hope that's the case. I don't know, but maybe this change has been such a shock. It has moved him in that direction. But I can't imagine Sean McVay having more influence over him than would Coughlin.
That's true.
For example, you would think the opposite would be true. But we will see what happens. He's certainly got a fine mentor there, and also he can see what Goff has done as a young quarterback and what's happened there. So he's certainly got to have some misgivings about his career at this point, I would hope, and has learned to jump in and get the job done the way you have to in that league.
All right, Coach, and finally here, another headline. Roger Goodell says 4 preseason games, not necessary in the NFL, and he's looking to change the fact that they have 4 preseason games. And, Coach, you bring up a very great point on this story is, what do they do? Do they take away 2 games, make them regular season games, and just have a 2 preseason game, or do they just eliminate 2 games altogether? Either way, Coach, you made a great point. There's going to be somebody that has a problem with this, whether it's the owners losing revenue or the players having to play 2 extra regular season games.
Not just a point. This is going to be a huge roadblock, both directions. Plus the fact that you got to take all the other possibilities into consideration. What are you doing to the younger players? What are you doing to let's say a young football team, where you've got to get all the nuances done in four games to open up the season, and you hope you have another couple after that. So maybe you get 6 games where you're working through the nuances with when I say young team, I'm talking about young offensive linemen, young quarterback, young defensive players and whatever, and you're having to get all this stuff down. And now you only have 2 preseason games. You don't even get a chance to take a look at a lot of people. You just got to make decisions and go with them and say the heck with it. So a lot of people are going to hit the road that could have ended up playing.
All right, well, that is actually all the time we have for on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in to yet another edition of Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. For Coach K, I'm Jordan Glass. You guys have a great Monday. We'll talk to you again tomorrow right here at noon on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Don't forget, Stephen A. Smith Show coming up next. Sports Drive coming up later on this afternoon at 5 o'clock right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
This is Pensacola's hometown all-sports station and home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Catch all the Wahoos games home and away all season, plus all the latest Wahoos news from Chad Brilliante on the Sports Drive, 5 till game time weeknights. And hey, if your business would like to partner with us as an advertiser or with a local sports promotion, then give us a call at 850-262-6000 or shoot us an email from the advertise page on ESPNpensacola.com.